What's going on, traders? I'm Antoine Farrell back with another trading video with Digital Goatz Academy. Today is Sunday, so welcome to our weekly review where we pretty much outline what transpired in the market the previous week. So if you're tuning into this channel on YouTube, make sure you guys do me a solid and hit that subscribe button, like and comment as well. Let's go ahead and get into chart reading or pretty much, looking at what happened last week. So if you've been tuning into our channel, you know we primarily focus on indices. That's pretty much the money maker. That's the money mover. We do mess with a couple of other currency pairs. Hold on real quick. My bad. We do mess with some other currency pairs such as oil, Bitcoin, but our main focus has been indices since we've been building, well, not since we've been building this channel. But either way, let's go ahead and discuss US 30. So let's look at what happened last Sunday, right? We do Sunday to Sunday. And I'm gonna talk about what happened as the market closed on Friday. So where's Sunday at? Is this last Sunday? 7 days ago. Yeah, this is last Sunday. So as you can see, last Sunday we did have a breakout, you know what I'm saying? So as Sunday gapped down, right, and started building support over here. And we finally did have some form of a breakout, which did push us back to 50K, and then the market decided to plummet on what was that, Friday? So on Friday, the market basically plummeted back to this area of consolidation. Now, we did discuss these areas before because remember, if you've been following us, you know we like to use our own forms of techniques. I hate saying the word strategy. I really hate that. But our own forms of techniques or parameters that we set, which can help us identify what's going on within the market. And one of those being the 9:45 a.m. candle that we always mark up. We box it up on a 15-minute time frame. And we create a zone and we extend it. So this is our 9:40, and it's been consistent. I wouldn't talk about it if it wasn't consistent, right? You do have to follow like the rules that's to it because it's like it's not concrete on the rules. You just have to establish what's going on based off the zone. So we just kind of wait to see what happens after 9:45, and then that kind of tells us what the direction of the day, as long as price isn't ranging for the rest of that trading day, right? But anyway, the fact that we decided to push down here, that close to this 9:45 candle from May 5th. So this was 2 weeks ago. I had always had my eye on this. Remember, we kind of saw something like this play out with another 9:45 candle scenario where price ran away from it, buying up, and then came back to test that area later. Let's see if we can even identify that area. Here we are. Very similar. April 16th. Very similar. So, yeah, April 16th, and it decided to push back at the end of the month. So that was almost 15 days later, 14 days later, right? So let's see. This is May 5th. So, wow, very, very close as far as like the days. Are y'all seeing that? This is what I'll be talking about when it comes to identifying patterns. Like there's similarities on how the market moves, and there's patterns not in the generic form that we learn, such as like, a bearish flag pattern or an inverted head and shoulder pattern, not those type of patterns. The pattern that the market creates, there's some type of rhythm that the market creates within a week, within like a month, within 2 weeks that you can identify if you just really start hunting for it. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to create a scenario, but if you start paying attention, you're like, yeah, man, this kind of look exactly like what it did April 16th. And here we are after price, pushed up around May 5th, and price actually drove us back close to what? The 9:45 candle, the 9:45 a.m. candle from May 5th. So my expectations is that if we get a gap, just to kind of give some form of like a market forecast, if we get a gap down, this is the buy zone for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping we don't push as low as this, maybe, test the high, but if we do get a gap down, I'm definitely looking at this as the buy zone. So that's getting me excited because we're still seeing what we needed to see. Not to mention, if we look at it now, this is going into the foreign exchange pattern, right? Stuff that we talked about. We talk about consolidation in three ways of motion. We know consolidation can consolidate up, we know it can consolidate downward, and we know it can consolidate sideways. So as we see, remember, I was discussing this again 2 weeks ago where I said that price after it breaks out, it needs to do some type of pullback. I was wondering if this candle over here at 9 a.m. on May 5th was the momentum it needed to actually keep the market going in an uptrend. I don't think that we had the correction. That's what I meant to say. The correction that the market needed to do, and it baited everybody in. It did create resistance, baiting in the buyers to buy high, and then the market is actually plummeting down to a pattern we're very familiar with. Remember, whenever it breaks out of consolidation, whether it's high or low, I mean, whether it's moving up or down, we need some type of pullback to confirm that yes, this buy is valid. So I'm thinking that that's what price is trying to do. That's why we had that major sell off on Friday. But again, this is where our support is at. So let's not get carried away. We could just identify these areas, but this is where our support is at. So you can see overall consistently we've hit this area and basically bounced off of it. So I'm really looking at this consolidation zone to be our support that could take us up. But we'll have to see what the market shows us because today is Sunday and the market opens up in like 45 minutes. So I'm not expecting I'm not expecting too much momentum, but I am looking for some type of positive outcome because we did just have President Trump go to China, where him and the president of China, I don't want to butcher his name, but Xi Jinping, don't block me if I butchered that. You know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to work on that to get these hierarchy figures getting their names correct because I'm definitely big on my name being pronounced correctly. But anyway, I am looking for that type of information to be filtered into the market. And then that should give us a boost for another potential rally. Nobody has been talking about the market selling off. You know what I'm saying? When you look at Bloomberg, when you look at bank analysts or speakers for the representatives of these banks, they haven't been talking about the market selling. Everybody's still been optimistic, and everybody's still been like, yeah, I'm targeting like for the market to go high. Now, does the market work off of just what these people are saying? No, but I will say this: they know a lot more than we do as traders. You know what I'm saying? So if their targets are still high in the buyer's direction, the only thing we got to be careful of is not falling prey to getting stuck in the market when it is creating resistance. You know what I'm saying? While we're buying up, because we are in Q2. This is quarter two. As you can see, each time we've sold off, we've bought back up. And yes, we've come back to highs and stuff. And now to me, if anything, this just looks like that the market is trying to range. So it's not like still riding this wave. It just looks like it's trying to range in order to continue direction. Anytime I see consolidation, it doesn't matter what time frame. So this is 8 hour. This is a custom time frame. Hold on. So if I get rid of all this and we just turn it to a line chart, you can see that if I were to draw, I can't draw a line because it's going to pull back all my markups. But if you see, treat this as our resistance, treat this as our support, right? Prices is consolidating, if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? I know we've been building the resistance, but each time we've pushed down off of the resistance, we've bought back up. And each time we've been slightly getting higher and higher, not to mention the lows of the market have been higher. So the highs of the market have been higher and the lows of the market have been higher than the previous low. Does that make sense? So to me, that's spelling an uptrend. We just have to break out of basically this noise over here, which to me, this is just a giant form of consolidation and the market should continue. If you notice S&P and just to kind of reference them, S&P and NASDAQ, they've actually been like moving up and then doing some form of consolidation while US 30 has been doing like major, I wouldn't say major, but drops that definitely, if your positions were off or you were over leveraging, you definitely felt that. You know what I'm saying? No, make no mistake. I felt Friday a little bit. I was like, damn, I didn't expect it because I was just a straight bear move, but we're back at another level of support. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's not cause for concern unless we just see the market by the time, we get to Monday, we start seeing the market push down even further. Then yes, red flags are definitely going up. But right now, we're just analyzing the market for what it is, start from where we're at. You work your way back. This is consolidation. This is consolidation. We could say that these are trends, but still consolidation. We have yet to break out of this zone, but we have yet to break below this zone either. We'll break the high of the zone or break the low of the zone. And I expect that once we meet resistance or support, price is going to react off of that. And as you can see, the trend has been still like in an uptrend. This is based off of that what? Inverted head and shoulder. If you remember, we identified an inverted head and shoulder at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? So we know that price is still playing off of that inverted head and shoulder. We've broken highs, you know what I'm saying? We pulled back slightly, just like last year. If you were trading US 30 last year, not that is exact, but it feels very familiar. Every time we saw a push down, the market bought back up. And it played us because a lot of times the push down wasn't even that violent. Your position was just off. And then next week, the market just starts getting bullish overall. So, like I'm thinking that we're going to get a continuation, but again, we do have to wait because today is Sunday to see how the market reacts, how it opens up. But like I told you, if it does gap down, I'm definitely looking at that last 945 candle to be an area where we decide to buy up from. Because to me, logically, that's the only place that the market could target unless it is targeting this level of support again, which I don't think so. That could be, a possibility, but it doesn't even matter because within the support and within this support and within this 945 candle zone, you know what I'm saying? That's still a buy zone area. Yeah, if you look at it, the pip count, that's about a $270, like if you were to enter at the high of this and the market did go all the way down to the bottom of the support zone, that would be $270 in drawdown with US 30 at a 0.01. So obviously, you adjust properly, but yeah, anywhere within this price range of 49,000 if we get a push down, 49,150, 155 to 48,008, let's say 885, I'm thinking that's a buy zone. I don't think we'll go below that because last year we were staying below 48,500. So I don't think that we'll go below that. I think that if anything, it'll try to do a shallow pull back into this zone and then maybe try to like do like a spike that'll end up with a wick all the way down here. But again, I don't want to go too much into like what my predictions are because we saved that for market forecast. I'm just kind of analyzing the market as we're looking at it because we haven't done like the past 2 weeks we haven't done a weekly review where I kind of give more in-depth a more in-depth analysis, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm looking at for US 30. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm still bullish. I'm not changing my narrative. If you want to try to catch sales, you definitely can. Any move that pushes down, I'm looking at it as a buy opportunity. So, I don't want to get caught trying to chase the market every time it gives me a direction that is moving with like ferocity. I just want to go ahead and exercise like a little bit of patience, wait for the market to come back to these zones. Even if it doesn't, early entry isn't bad. Just make sure you're taking profit as long as it's going in profit. And then if I have to, cut losses, if price decides to, react a little bit different than what I expected, that's just the nature of the beast. That's just what it is. But I do believe that we're still trending up. I don't think that we're pushing down. And any sell, I think that if we do push back down, it'll come back to the support structure, right? So S&P and NASDAQ. S&P push down. I actually was surprised that no, actually, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because we talked about this. We said literally with S&P. Let me go into that after I go ahead and identify this. So this was the gap. Yeah, this was the gap last Sunday. And as you can see, with even an S&P, we started trending higher. You know what I'm saying? S&P definitely made a big jump outside of after we did this pullback, which what created a morning star pattern, but at an area we had identified. I was always skeptical about this candle right here specifically, just to kind of talk about this because of how it was formed. I saw something like this last year where I expected price to collect liquidity and it didn't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of like speaking about this because as long as we stay above this candle and it doesn't even try to come back, to this support structure, we have nothing to fear of the market like pushing back down lower. But we find ourselves down here, yeah, the market is definitely trying to collect liquidity. But like I said, I'm just saying the possibility of the what if factor, but I don't think that that's what's going on. Because we didn't do our weekly review like the past 2 weeks, let's kind of discuss this real quick. So we created consolidation up here. Again, I love identifying consolidation and then extending the zone. Reason why I'm extending the zone is because that's an area that the market could decide to buy up from. Or if it violates the consolidation, I know that we're pushing down a little bit lower. Make no mistake, if the market shows me that it's selling lower than where I expect a buy, I'm obviously going to take the sell. But right now, I'm not looking for sales unless the market shows me something of that effect, right? So we created this trend within candlestick pattern as well. We tested the high of this. This is why I have this zone because I'm identifying this pattern over here. I think we did this on market forecast too, where price broke out of here, it tested this high. And as you can see, if I extend this, we can go ahead and we can go ahead and treat that as support based off of what? This pattern alone, because that's all we can care about until price shows us something different. But the reason why, even if you didn't identify like the morning star pattern, doesn't even matter. Let's say we didn't even know nothing about that shit, but we know basic chart reading when it comes to consolidation, um, an uptrend, downtrend, yada yada, right? So even if we didn't have this area over here, let's kind of ignore this black line. I mean, this black zone real quick. Focus on the consolidation zone. Anytime I draw consolidation, it's normally orange, right? So I extended it and we can see that, okay, price bounced off of this once, broke out. This is the breakout of the consolidation zone. We had already mentioned that once price comes back, or if price decides to come back, this is probably our buy zone, right? This is probably our buy zone because this is a consolidation zone and we know what price likes to do, come back to consolidation. As you can see, once we identified it, the sell happened. So we're still playing off the zone, even though price has pushed down like these swing lows. But each time, what's been happening? These swing lows have been higher, and we've been breaking higher as far as resistance is concerned. So I'm looking at just this general area. One, we have this information right here, but also we have the consolidation zone that price is still playing to that I'm looking at price to possibly buy up from. So that's really what I'm looking at. I'm looking at price to buy up from that area. Let me change this real quick. So yeah, I'm still bullish on indices. Like I said, I mean, I'm still bullish on S&P as well. I think this move was just to bring us back down the consolidation zone, unless price is trying to target more of this morning star right here, which we always play to this with a morning star. It can either test the high of the morning star, which we have the zone, or it can test any level, any percentage of the morning star it wants to. So we just marked up the high and the low and extended it. We can see that this is the high of this morning star pattern, right? We know that price could actually either test the high of this doji or come down and create support because this is a support zone of this morning star. I normally expect a morning star pattern to get tested at least 50%, but that's not what happened. You can't play to what you see the last time. You just have to go with what the market shows you. And the fact that we created support in this area, I'm going to stick to this area being an overall level of support and not trying to push down anything lower than this level. We may come back down, within the consolidation zone where the fib is approaching, like where we have the fib marked up. So, like I said, I would look for 50%, which would be 7,353, right? So that area would be considered a buy zone if price is not buying off of this black zone we already have annotated. But that's what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? Again, if we get a gap down, I'm looking at that to be the buy zone. I'm not looking at anything lower because, like I said, just based off of this, we've been sticking to some form of a trend. Wow. Like damn near almost perfect. I want to say perfect, but looks good. So yeah, gap down could be possible, you know what I'm saying, to meet this trend that the market started. Now, if it violates it, then obviously we'll have to reassess what's going on and do another analysis. But like I said, I'm staying true to the uptrend, and I believe that this is going to be another data point unless price pushes up and then the trend carries on and then it decides to test this, like push this to another area later on, right? Uh, Last but not least, NASDAQ. So I was surprised that NASDAQ made this push all the way back down to the support structure. But again, we had this already marked up with this resistance here. This was a potential high tested. And again, any area we identify doesn't mean that it's going to be like a sniper entry. So I don't even want to go too much into like what happened with the NASDAQ on Sunday. We kind of already know what happened. It did, very identical to S&P and NASDAQ. I mean, S&P and US 30 looks a lot like S&P. NASDAQ looks a lot like S&P right now, yo. So as you can see, we got this support structure down here that price created, and then I already marked up that the price may be testing this high. So you could use either one of these areas. You could use either one of these areas for a potential buy zone. I think we're still staying true to the buy zone, yo. I'm saying? So within the support structure, I believe, well, within the support level, I believe price is still buying up from here. We broke out of this zone, you know what I'm saying? We broke out of this zone right here, yo. So anything, anything that, is gonna go lower, we would basically have to address that if price, gaps down a lot lower than I expected. But I think this support structure and this resistance zone, I think this support structure and this resistance zone validates the buy. But I'll address more as we get more data, you know what I'm saying? Because the only thing is with S&P and NASDAQ, they look like they're trying to range now versus continuing the trend, but very identical to US 30. Very identical. I mean, very identical to no, like I'm saying the right thing. Very identical to US 30, but that's all I got, traders, today. It's about to be 5:30. It's 5:28 right now. So I'm gonna definitely do my best to analyze the market. And I already told you where I'm looking at potential buy zones. Those zones have been valid since like last week, yo. Um, but like I said, any changes, we'll discuss it later on this week. But like I said, I'm still bullish, but that's what transpired last week. And I think any move that the market was deciding to push down was just bringing the market down to levels of structure for us to basically rally again. So that's what I'm looking at, traders. I hope y'all have a phenomenal trading week this week in the markets. And I'll see you on the next video with Digital Goats Academy, which will be our market forecast. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Yeah, which will be our market forecast. So I'm Antoine Farrar as always. I'll catch you on the next video with Digital Goats Academy. Peace.